Hello, good morning, everybody. I think we've got a really special deck to start off with today. Um, I've had this kind of core for a long time, and this has been a long time work in progress. Um, Everybody knows about Glaring Fleshraker. What? Wait, hold on. Pause. We have a chest cold open. What's up? What's up, Spikelings? It's me, your favorite MTGO cuber, a noted banless discussion enthusiast, aspiring Spike. Welcome to my Shark Typhoon. Today, during my hour of meditation I take every morning at 4 a.m., I realize that Eldrazi are scary, so we're going to scare our opponent's life total away with a sweet Eldrazi Underworld Breach deck. Can we grind out some trophies, or are the stars not aligned in our favor? Stay tuned and watch the stirring gameplay and find out. Sub, comment, like, etc. Thank you, Chest, and good morning, everybody. Okay, so back to the deck. Everybody knows about Glaring Fleshraker. This card is really crazy, especially in multiples. Whenever you cast a Cola spell, you make a spawn token. There is a lesser-known Fleshraker variant from MH3 in Skittering Precursor. This says whenever you sacrifice a non-token permanent, so in this deck, Baubles, Stars, Spheres, things to Grinding Station or Prismatic Vistas, you also make a spawn token. So Fleshraker goes really crazy in multiples, and so does Precursor. And so the ability to play 8 of these kind of effects in the same deck and churn through your library, making a ton of mana with the artifact-based cantrips is pretty interesting to me, and I've wanted to build a deck around these two cards for quite a long time. Now, something that really delayed me in building this deck was my kind of insistence, my desire to just cram 4 Ugin's Labyrinth in any deck that's playing Eldrazi. And if you're going to meet Ugin's Labyrinth's requirements, I learned the lesson that if you meet Ugin's Labyrinth's deck building requirements, where you have like 10-ish imprintables, you do not meet the requirements for Skittering Precursor and Glaring Fleshraker, where your mana curve is too high for you to really take the advantage of a deck like this. And I think it was really Matt Nat's Brood Scale Eldrazi deck that just doesn't play Labyrinth that kind of like keyed me into building the deck in this way, where you just don't play Labyrinth, but because of that, your Fleshrakers are really crazy because your curve is really low and you have a lot of cheap Colas cards. And so, kind of taking inspiration from that style, I've been working on this list for a while, and I think it finally got there. So, like, one thing also with this list that I was kind of stuck on was that for a while I was trying to play a Tron variant, where instead of being Underworld Breach combo, I was like playing Karn and Mystic Forge. And, you know, you can also sack your Expedition maps to trigger the Precursor. Expedition map, also cheap colors card. And then you would try to, like, kind of storm off with Mystic Forge, Fleshraker, and, like, Karn and stuff. But the problem is, like, the Precursors are just, like, too hard to cast. And one, like, very awkward thing is, like, one of the main ways you're casting them is, like, you're sacking your Star or your Sphere. But if you're sacking your Star or your Sphere to cast your Precursor, then you don't get that's like one less spawn token, which is really awkward. So I eventually I scrapped the Tron build and then decided to go in on the Breach build. And this build has been much better. You get to not only play Precursor as a color card, but you're playing Breach, we're playing Stirrings, you're playing Rumble. Your mana is really good. It's kind of lucky green-red gets this Grove of the Burnwillows card. And so what's cool about this deck is that, kind of similar to Brood Scale combo, you have a lot of draws that are not true combo draws, but you're playing a 3-drop or 2 3-drops, and you're just making a ton of value, and sometimes you're cobbling together a deterministic combo. Sometimes you're just killing your opponent with Glaring Fleshraker. But it's the ability to, like, just do that and, like, churn through your deck really powerfully. Getting to play Kozilek's command, I think, is really interesting and exciting, and like leans you to want to play this kind of build potentially over like the traditional Teamer Breach builds. So, yeah, and also I will say this deck is just beautiful. This is just, I don't know. So sometimes you just look at a deck list and you just have to enjoy it. And this is just, I think, the prettiest deck I've made in a long time. Oh, Demonic Tutors, cool. All right, let's keep this hand. I'm going to hold the Bauble for now, at least until after the Stirrings. If I hit a Precursor or a Fleshraker, I'm probably going to want to hold it. I think I'm going to take Kozilek's command instead. The thing about Kozilek's command is it's very broken and you always want to grab it. I think I'm still going to hold the Bauble, though, because there's a good chance I won't want to cast this next turn. I'll just want to cast the Grinding Station, and so I can, like, at the very least, like, look at my top card and see if I like it. I can play Temple if I do, or I can play Vista if I don't. Oh, okay, okay. Of course we're playing against Mill if we're playing against Demonic Tutors. I should probably kill this crab. Should probably kill the crab. So let me go ahead and exile the creature and scry draw. Needle Plague with the 9 months. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Glad you're still liking the stream, my friend. Okay, now do I... So if I go Rumble and I hit a Fleshraker, I'll have wanted to... Yeah, I think because I have like action for next turn, I'm still holding the Bauble for one more turn. Okay, so let's Rumble before we play the Bauble, because we find Fleshraker, we can get a little bit of value. My opponent might have a Drown, though. Alright, not a lot, so just take the Sphere. The best thing to draw would be an Underworld Breach, especially with our opponent, you know, presumably milling us for a bunch. Alright, at risk of turning on Archive Trap, I'm going to crack this fetch, get a Mountain, play a Star, pass the turn. Cycles a Fractured Sanity. I have 40 cards in my deck. Maybe Surgical, maybe Archive Trap. None of the above. I went 1-2 with my Real Cube deck. Match 2, I had Rough Mold of 5. Accidentally submitted 52 card deck with 29 lands. Yikes. Turns out if you click Remove from Sideboard, Moto puts in the main deck. Yeah, Moto's got a lot of bugs. Oh no, my opponent's just milled 3 of my 4 Underworld Breaches. It's pretty bad. Need to draw some action. Need to draw some action. Is his name green now? Just helping my opponent on the whole decking process, I guess. Suppose we can just play this. Seems Tutors appreciates it. Mill, probably not a great deck to see round 1, but great to see Demonic Tutors. Alright, decides to kill the Fleshraker in play instead of countering it on the stack. Just a little bit of disrespect. Okay, it seems like if I can just get lucky and draw my 4th Underworld Breach, which has not been milled yet, we could win. Toshes me down to 4 cards. The last Underworld Breach is not in exile. I repeat, the last Underworld Breach appears at first glance to not be exiled. I see 3 in the graveyard. I see none in exile. Now, I had 4 cards in my deck when I drew this forest. There was still no Underworld Breach. So it seems like I have a 33% chance of winning. Potentially more if I find a cantrip. Wow. Oh boy. What a start. Okay, so start by casting a Fleshraker. Tie for milling me. Thank you for milling me, my good friend. I have baubles, yeah. Okay. Oh, I don't have a second Fleshraker in the yard. A little surprising. Let's see then. Should I Precursor? Should I... Wait, how do I not have a second one in the yard? One? Okay, there's looks like there's one still in my deck. Obviously there's this... I've taken too much time here. Okay. There it is. Could have just gone for the other Precursor, but this is going to kill a lot faster. It's nice also that the... I guess it should... yeah, let's go ahead and... 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and play the Star so we can play the Precursor, which will deal more damage. Just going to go ahead and go to 0 cards in my library. And then play a Bauble. All right. Funny, funny first game. Does he not stream anymore? No, Tutor's had an injury. At this point, it's been like maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year, and he's been unable to stream. But he's I think he's getting better, and I think he's trying to maybe get back into things. Okay, I think this is kind of weird. I think I actually cut my grinding stations in this matchup, and I just try to play a game like that. I'm going to bring in the Veil of Summers and go up to 61. Did I consider Urza Saga for the deck? I did consider Urza Saga. I think that it is not correct to play it in the deck. I think that you have too few colored sources, especially with your Eldrazi Temples. All 4 Underworld Breaches on our opening hand. Unfortunately, a mulligan. And I can't believe I'm mulliganing a 4 breach. I mean, any breaches ever, but just 2 non-functionals. I did consider Urza Saga in the deck. I do not think it's optimal at the time of making this comment. I want to keep a Rumble over Stirrings because Rumble can find breach. The Sphere can make green mana for me, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and grab a red. I paired against Mill deck with Gorios, pull out of Modern Open, and player just gave up inside with 4 mana Emrakul's. Yeah, that sounds about right. Nightmare with the 4 years. Welcome back. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Why not a Woodland mana base? You could maybe do a Woodland mana base. Your mana is much worse. We're a 3-color deck, chat. We're a 3-color deck. So cards like Shifting Woodland and cards like Urza Saga are much harder to include than you might think. I don't really feel like it works. Am I getting fielded? I'm getting fielded. I have 5 total basics in the deck. Do I still have any here? It looks like I have a couple. I only have 14 cards in my deck now. And none of them are Underworld Breach. I think actually with none of them being Breach, I just have to concede. Weird game. I wish I could have kept one of those hands that had a Breach, but they were just so non-functional. Andrew with the 37, thank you, welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, I'll see this. It's, Woodland is like, Woodland and Saga are both just very different directions to go. I would encourage you to maybe try building it yourself if you think that's the direction. I don't think it's the direction. The Sphere can also make red mana. Why not go ahead and grab a green? Because you want to sack the Sphere when Precursor is in play, which allows you to get a spawn token. Okay, so let's go ahead and Bauble ourselves. I want to crack my fetch and be able to Veil of Summer and Archive Trap here. Okay, nice. So let's just go ahead and in my opponent's upkeep do it so that I give Tutors one more draw to draw the Archive Trap. Is Mill a real deck now? I don't think I'd say that so much as Demonic Tutors is someone who really enjoys playing Mill, and we happen to get paired against Demonic Tutors. Archive Trap. Alright, not this time. Taking a Fleshraker. Double Crab draw. We milled a Rumble here. Is Moto still laggy? It seemed to be a bit better today. Two more Fleshrakers milled. It's going to be a tough one. Very good draw again from our opponent. I don't know if I'm just going to Veil the Crabs. I guess it would be nice if my opponent would, like, cast a blue or black spell first. I think we'll just let the 6 happen here. So my opponent's at 15. Aboro bounce to hand. So this is Revolted Fatal Push. So we Veil of Summer. All right, double crab, extra paid, double push. Welcome back, Demonic Tutors. Yeah, maybe just cooked at this point. I don't know how many Fleshrakers I have left. Oh, it seems I have one Fleshraker left. Fleshraker. Mm-mm. Paying mana for this means I'm going to get Tashed, I guess, and can't really beat that. Oh, third Fatal Push. What's the last card? Why did you pay? Maybe just thinks he's got it in the bag. We'll see if we can show him. Last Fleshraker maybe gives me a chance. Oh, not even really though. Yeah. Okay. Well, Milda seemed like a tough matchup. Welcome back to Demonic Tutors. Any chance you want a couple Wooded Foothills to make Precursor better? We're playing Vista instead. You could possibly make a case for Wooded Foothills over, but I don't know if there's like a lot of room for both in your Kozilek's command deck. Their own Fleshraker? Their own Fleshraker. You might get to Kozilek's command that next turn. Since that's going to be dealing me damage, I'm going to go ahead and cast Rumble and give them the life points. Grab a sphere. Pass to you. Basic Mountain. This is a Smasher? So this is going to ping me for twice with the Fleshraker. Attack me for 7 down to 11. Kind of in okay shape, though. We do need to find an Eldrazi soon. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go Scry Draw looking for a Precursor or a Fleshraker. Exile here. I think I'm going to go just get one more look by sacking the spawn. And I guess I'm happy I did. Another Kozilek's command is interesting. Could always do the Scry Draw thing. Be interesting also if my opponent like plays another Smasher here. We go to 1 and the decision to play Grove over Forest wins us the game. Oh yeah, the Breach art looks off. It does look kind of zoomed in, doesn't it? Maybe it's just how I have this formatted. What is this? 7 mana. Oh, maybe just a Sire of 7 Deaths. Okay, just a Sire. So we're gonna have some life points to play with, but we're gonna have to win the game this turn. So let's see what we draw. No Eldrazi. I bottomed a bunch of non-Eldrazi, so I don't think I'm supposed to shuffle. I have plenty of colored mana, so it seems like I could just afford to scry 4, draw 4. Yeah, I can't just Grinding Station breach them here. There's a Fleshraker. Is it in the nick? Is it just in the nick of time, or is it just a little too short? I'm a little bit worried here because I'm if I can find a Bauble, we can win. But I have to find a Bauble. Okay, yeah, if this card is Bauble, we can cast the Breach, and we can start casting the Bauble and do some stuff. Nope. Tough. Tough. Okay, down a game against seemingly Eldrazi aggro. I think I may just not sideboard, although that's probably wrong. They're gonna have some artifact and enchantment based disruption for us here, so we're gonna need to want to play some mites. Wander the 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Hoping for more Cure Brews in the future. That's good. Yeah, I do have another one that I'm working on. That feels kind of fresh. I've been thinking about playing only 2 grinding station anyways. I think I'm gonna trim one of those. Trim a stirrings. I'm gonna trim a bauble despite really, really badly wanting to draw one there too. Any more luck on the standard brewing? Just back burner right now. I mean, I just didn't get around. You know, there's only so many hours in the day, and this deck took a long time last night. And I'm not. Yeah, I've not been playing standard like today or yesterday or the day before. We'll see. Wander 17 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. All right, I already said that. I take it back. I thought it was the other Eldrazi Breach. No, if they're playing Smasher, they don't have Through the Breach in their deck. I think Kiora is bad in the Bowmaster format. This kind of feels like a kind of hot take. I mean, Kiora is not good against Orcish Bowmaster. This is true. Neither is the One Ring. You know, like there can be cards that are bad against cards that are playable in the format. Kiora has also just been very good for us. She seemed to be more of a combo card than like a Dimir Unearth card. She's been incredible in both in our Grixis and Esper Goryo's deck. And she was. I thought we also like we 4-1 with Kiora 3 or 4 times at this point. We did it with the Omniscience deck, with both Goryo's decks. I guess it was 3 times. So that seems kind of fine to me. Brood Scale over Precursor, 1 Blade, Saga mana base. Okay, well you've just built the Brood Scale deck again. You just built the Brood Scale deck again. At that point, it's better to play more blades. It's okay, but I do always think it's funny when like the chat's like, Spike, your new brew, what if it was a stock deck list that exists? Because at that point, once you put Brood Scale the deck, you need to play 4 blades, and you're at that point your Brood Scale combo is something you should lean more into than your Breach combo, because you're less enabling it, and you're with the precursors. No, just as 2 combo angles to attack. Yeah, I'm telling you, once you make those changes, like all of a sudden, like you've cut your precursors, and then why do you have all of these stars and spheres and baubles in the deck? Those cards are much, much, much worse now that you have no precursors. So what do? You cut them and you play more blades, and you just play normal Brood Scale combo. Okay, I put a Mold to 6 and then Gemstone Caverns to me. What's the advantages to Breach combo over Brood Scale combo? The big one to me is like playing 8 Fleshraker style effects, where like a big part of what I like about Brood Scale combo is like the games where you just like play 2 Fleshrakers, and the fact that this deck kind of plays 8 Fleshrakers. And although of course not exactly. Precursor is not exactly Glaring Fleshraker. But it does a pretty good impression, and that excites me. But I did a deck tech at the beginning. Y'all can also check that out. Opponent, awkward mulligan. They did pitch a land, and then they missed their land drop. So let's go ahead and play a precursor here. Make a spawn. Opponent reading Skittering Precursor, perhaps. 3 mana, 3/3 menace, devoid. Whenever you cast it, sacrifice a non-token permanent, make a spawn. So we're gonna sack our Vista, get a forest, make another spawn. Then we're gonna cast K command, and maybe we can like find a Star Sphere and get a little bit more chip damage in. Dismembered, and if they had dismembered, we would have not untapped already with our Fleshraker, or we shouldn't have. I maybe should say. I tried fitting Coma in a non-flare assault lone build. Felt too ambitious, expensive. I went to hardcast it. I mean, Coma is not a playable Magic card, I think. Maybe in Standard. Coma is not a playable Modern card. That card is a 4 mana, 4/3. Like, there's just, oh, yeah. Goodness. Could you play this deck with Tron Lands and Mystic Forge? So I mentioned this at the beginning of the deck tech, but that was initially how I had built the deck, yes. That was initially how I had built the deck. Oh. Okay, with the name Kozilek's command, they're ghosting. No, it's okay. It's okay that you missed it. But yeah, that was the initial draft. The big problem with that is that Precursor was just not very easy to cast if you're playing Tron lands. And like one of the main ways you would cast it is you would sack a star or sphere to cast it, but then you weren't sacking the star or sphere to make a spawn token. So that was very awkward. Or talking about Kona or Coma. I was talking about the 4 mana 4/3 put a permanent into play. I don't know what we were talking about. Now there's a pause. Just name Kozilek's command. It's okay. I don't care. You can ghost. Just name Kozilek's command. I don't care. Ghost. It's fine. Just let's keep playing. Just name it. It's fine. Should clip the deck text, start a stream, and link it to avoid all the repetition. I don't know. I mean, I don't mind chatting about it. I also like. I'm not gonna clip it and then paste it every single time in chat I see someone do anything. They might be trying to name Spawn. They named Charma. Okay. Cool. They are not ghosting. It might have been better to just play a second Precursor here. But I think I want to try doing this. Get to deal a little bit of extra damage. Nice. So yeah, it's very, very cool. I always love when I get a question that's like, Spike, why play this build over traditional Brood Scale or Breach? And then I just love when I get a question like that and I get to show y'all what I'm thinking pretty dang quick. Like it's very much inspired from the like multiple Fleshraker turns that you get out of Brood Scale, but you just actually get to play more Fleshraker type cards. This Rumble is really nice. Let's keep it. I like the idea of being able to watch a clip of deck tech. Yeah, I mean it's something that sometimes a mod will do, is they'll make a clip and do it, but it's just kind of tough for me to do the deck tech, make the clip, crop the clip, copy paste. So if any mods have the time or energy or love of the game to do it, that's great, but it's just not something I can do really. All right, game 3. There's a good chance, yeah, they're doing that. They're like Googling like Skittering Precursor modern deck and just finding nothing because it's debuting right here. I would want to bottom it to find a Star Sphere and try to keep going. Yeah, I mean that would be like the content play, but the Rumble is just gonna let me kill them for sure next turn with this Breach in my hand. So I feel like I should just be doing that, and I feel making the correct play. Did Ren Fair live up to the impression set by HBO show? I wasn't able to go to Ren Fair, unfortunately. So it was the weekend after Vegas, and we came home and our dogs had been sprayed by a skunk, and that took like just so long to like wash and clean everything, and we just ended up not being able to go. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna hold the baubles in my hand. If I miss my land drop next turn, I can just Stirrings for my land drop and then try to pop off the following turn. Right, getting line breakered. So certainly would like to draw any land right now, of course. Maybe that should go without saying. Is there a reason why we don't play Blade of the Bloodchief in this build? I guess I could answer your question with another question. Why do we want to play Blade of the Bloodchief? Just like sack our spawns and make something big? We have no Urza Saga to tutor it. It seems like it would just kind of be a little misplaced to me. Okay, let's take the Grinding Station, I think. Maybe just take Star. No, I need the Grinding Station to combo next turn. Not a bad turn 3. This is turn 2. This is turn 2. So they have K command X equals 2 up. Dismember maybe just a touch out of reach there. Yeah, Fleshraker is a really silly card. Ooh. So this is basically -1 mana. I think I can hold that. It does suck not having access to Labyrinth. Well, I will say, like, the reason why this deck took so long to drop, is Sorry, I should have sacked in response. Is that I kept trying to jam Ugin's Labyrinth and a bunch of like very expensive cards in the deck, but the deck just doesn't function when you build it that way. So, because I drew this Fleshraker, it seems like So basically, when you get to this point, you kind of have two options. You can buy back Star and then sack it to your grinding station, which draws you a card, and then you get a mana back from the Fleshraker. So it's mana neutral, infinite card draw. Or you bring back Baubles, and the Baubles give you a mana and a damage. We play it because we sack a lot of spawn. Just to be clear, the answer is we don't play it because it's not worth it without the Saga to tutor it, and we can't fit the Saga, so we don't bother with the Blade. Yeah, I think so. It's like Blade is like a card that is good when. A Blade is a card that's good when we have our creatures in play. They aren't dying. We're making a lot of spawn tokens. We, at the moment, do not have a problem winning the game when these conditions are met. So it seems to me that we don't need to bother playing this card. Okay, I think I don't know if my opponent has Kozilek's command, but they're not conceding, so I think I'm just gonna leave this Bauble in play here as a way to kind of play around a Kozilek's command. But you know what I mean? Like it's just like these kind of turns we're just gonna win the game. So to play a card that is only good in situations where winning the game is almost never correct. But it is usually correct to suggest them. Okay, so opponent just watching the action. This is a turn 3 win, by the way. Legacy and stream went well. Any interest in trying Legacy Eldrazi? It's really powerful at the moment. I have basically no interest in any format to just say, all right, chatters, today we're just trying out a stock tier 1 deck in a format I've never played, or even a format I do play. Today, we're trying out stock tier 1 deck. Let's see how it goes. That is fine for a lot of content creators. For me, it's just not something I am interested in doing. I am interested in brewing, innovating, and sharing my ideas. It is kind of the only way that I can stay interested and engaged with streaming. It's the reason I don't really get burned out. It's the reason why the stream is successful and interesting, is that I'm here every day deck building and brewing and sharing my ideas. That's what's cool to me about doing this. That's what I want to keep doing. And I don't want to dilute that with Aspiring Spike learns a tier 1 legacy deck. I don't know what I'm doing. Come watch. Any interest in playing Tiny Leaders? Yes, all the time. All right. On the draw against a meticulous archive. Graveyard's a prismatic ending. I think I'm taking Temple over the Star. Could be incorrect. But next turn I want to go Rumble into Command. No rest from gym, second leg day after stream. I just did leg day yesterday. Lately the structure has been 2 days on, 1 day off. And I feel like I've been responding to that pretty well. A little bit worried about getting Gorios here, actually, but yeah, I think I'm just gonna take a Bauble, and I'm just not even gonna. I'm not gonna play it because next turn I'm just gonna command, and I can probably dig for an Eldrazi, and then the Baubles will be worth some spawns. Any chance for fairies or ninjas? No. I mean, there's no chance. Like, we did lose a match to Kellen Fairies yesterday, so the answer is not just no, but the answer is probably no. My structure is 7 days on, no days off. I mean, I was for a while doing 5 days on and then like 2 days off, but it was just a bit much. Okay, cool to see people adopting the Kiora build here. It was a bit much. Like I feel like it was like actively counterproductive to be doing that much. I feel like I just needed like a half day extra rest. So like 5 days on, 2 days off versus 2 days on, 1 day off is like it's like a half day a week extra rest, and I feel like it's been a good adjustment. Okay, so I'm going to exile the Emperor of Bones in response to this this trigger here. Then I'm going to scry draw. And then my opponent is going to make an 8/8. I could exile the Ula. I think I want to exile the Emperor of Bones. Yeah, they can make an 8/8. Coach has me 6 on, 1 off for contest prep. I feel pretty terrible numbers going. That's good. I mean, I'll say I'm not training to be a bodybuilder. I'm not trying to be super jacked and sell you guys protein supplements. I'm just trying to be healthy. But I'm glad to hear that we have some healthy gamers in our audience here. And I encourage all of y'all to try to be a bit healthier than you were every day. Just trying to think about. I'm gonna keep this precursor, obviously. I'm gonna cast it. I'm gonna play 2 baubles. I'm gonna make 2 spawns. Yeah, I think I need to keep this extra rumble. To where so what I can do is I can go precursor, bauble, breach into play star sex for green, play another rumble, fill up the yard a little bit more, and kind of churn through the deck some more. Oh, they didn't crack. They could have cracked the fetch, got a surveil, and made an 8/8. So we'll see if that comes back to bite them or not. I guess I should be playing these bubbles out first, so that if my opponent has a solitude, I still get my spawn tokens. Could have denied threshold by exiling from graveyard rather than the Emperor. Yeah, but then we could have the Emperor off the field, so that way we can avoid them throwing another big thing at us, which seems to me way better than keeping them off threshold. But yes, Kozilek's command can do anything at any time. The card is incredibly unbalanced. I think I'm gonna play Grove here. Oh, they concede. They were not deterministically dead here, but I guess that's part of the upside of playing a rogue deck. Okay, so I'm gonna bring in these lanterns. Do I want 0 Veil of Summers? It's just kind of hard to know exactly what their build is. I was not playing Wandering Emperor in my Esper build. I don't want to get too much into it right now. Generally, I like a couple Emperors in that Grixis build. I don't like it very much in Esper, and we can circle back to that later. So what I can say though is they're not playing my Kiora build. They're playing, a variation. So it's hard to evaluate like how many Force of Negations and Thoughtseize and they have. They're gonna have some number. Let's play 1 Veil for now. Let's play 1 Veil. I've been kind of thinking that this deck maybe should only play 2 grinding stations. Right now I'm playing 3. This is still an early draft. But let's just go ahead and trim one of those. Let's go ahead and trim one of those, and then maybe I could just cut the stirrings. Experiment with that a little bit. Did I talk about running No Saga? So playing No Saga means that you have 8 colorless or 9 colorless sources if you play the Waste still. I do want to play the Waste because there's like Blood Moon is like main decked and the most popular deck in the format. But you have presumably 8 or 9 colorless sources in your deck that's playing Ancient Stirrings, Malevolent Rumble, Precursor, and Breach. This is just a few too many, I think, if we want to stay at 21 lands, especially because a lot of times you want to be able to Stirrings turn 1 to hit your second land drop. And I also like, Saga's fine. It's not like Jace. How are you still in the deck, Jace? We have Kiora, we have Wandering Emperor, we have Psychic Frog, we have Falahi Archaeologist. Who is putting you in the deck? There's like 1,000 better cards to play. I'm just gonna cycle the Veil here. Jeez. So yeah, I think Saga just makes your mana worse without really offering you enough benefits to compensate. Temple, obviously not so draw. They're playing 4/4 no Thoughtseize. How do you know that? The Goryo's Discord loves Jace. Yeah, like when we were testing, like when I built like the initial like Ephemerate Goryo's list, do Jace. when I built the initial Goryo's like ephemerate lists, and then like reiterating it post Archaeologist, I've tested Jace a lot. Jace has never been good for me. Like Jace has been suboptimal in my mind for like literal years at this point. Okay, they discarded a Traxa. You want to exile a Traxa to draw a card? They say no. I'm gonna go and block. Think you might have to update the idea that energy still plays 4 Blood Moon main. If I said 4 Blood Moon main, I misspoke. I know they don't play 4. But they do. I said I meant to say that the most popular deck in the format main decks Blood Moon. And I still am under the impression that that's the case. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. But that is I did misspeak, I think. Okay, so we should be able to combo off next turn. Yeah, I'm aware that they're not main decking as many copies, which may be a mistake after Canister, like winning the Showcase Challenge with Titan. But again, so the most popular deck in the format, main decks Blood Moon usually. So I want to have this Prismatic Vista mana base was the point I was trying to make. Okay. Okay, so we play Grinding Station. The next turn we can go Precursor Breach, get back Bauble, start drawing cards. So it seems like a backup Precursor to play around a removal spell is probably the card we'd like to select here. My opponent's hand is Jace Vryn's Prodigy, 3 mystery cards after their draw step. Hopefully, one of their mystery cards is not going to be Agorio's Vengeance, but if it is, it's possible we could still walk away with the dub if they don't find a Force of Negation. Is Tidebinder a bad card now? I don't know. It's not great against Lightning Bolt and Galvanic Discharge, and those cards are pretty popular. Okay, we might be in good shape. We could also be getting consigned. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know if Tidebinder is bad. So I've been thinking a little bit about how Wizards needs an answer to Flage. That's kind of the biggest problem with Wizards as an archetype. Interesting they chose to do that instead of Emperor. I don't know if it's like wrong or whatever. I guess it's better because if they hit Ulamog off the Traxa, then they can Emperor it. It looks like they're hitting more copies of Consign. So I guess I'm gonna want to bring in more Veil of Summers. Where was I going with this? So Tidebinder is kind of interesting against Flage, right? Where Tidebinder can lock down Flage, turn off its abilities, but it's very fragile, and then they still have a 6/6 you have to contend with, which is also an issue. But it stops ring, it's very good against like the Eldrazi decks. I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's bad, but maybe it just doesn't have a good home. My opponent, I guess they could have put me to 1 if they discarded their hand. So they did put a Consign into their hand here. So I guess what we can do is cast an Underworld Breach, play a Grove of the Burnwillows, cast a Skittering Precursor, are they replicating Consign? They also, where did this come from? I can't Veil Summer this, damn it. Okay, well, my plan was to Veil this. Getting Purged. Okay, game 3. Yeah, so let's play like 3 Veil of Summers. Let's play like 3 Veil of Summers. I think I may just be off the Grinding Station part of the play. Maybe I should play the first copy. You just like the Grinding Station, like the Grinding Station lets you be like really deterministic with your loops, but you can still like win a lot of games without them. And I feel like I could just like value Breach into like Kozilek's Command and Graveyard Hates alongside this, especially if I'm really in on the Veil of Summers. Pitch Hand Evolve, Emperor was lethal. Oh, yeah, the Emperor Evolve was lethal. I missed the Emperor Evolve, but yeah, Pitch their hand was lethal too. Okay, let's keep this hand. All right, to the chatter who said they're on 4 Force of Negation, no Thoughtseize. How did we arrive at this information? You still feeling confident about that? I think I'm not feeling confident about it enough to not, like, just, not not leave a Veil of Summer here, and I also wouldn't mind if they like try to consign my Lantern and I got to Veil next turn. And a lot of the times when chatters just confidently declare that something is the case, they are wrong. Chatter said they saw it in 5.0 list. I see. Wait, is this is their list or this is okay, this is their list. Okay. Then that's fair. The one of Celestial Purge. Why would you show me this? 3 Jace. Oh, Gorya's players. Emperor is pretty good against Graveyard Hate. They playing Jace as a Gorya's target. I mean, that's part of it, and then it can also loot. It's just the card is like so exploitable. It's like it's like slow. You have to untap with it. It never is a good top deck. And they're just like it's just like worse than Kiora. They're not playing Archaeologist, presumably because of the number of hits in the deck now. No attacks is incorrect. They just threaten the adapt, right? Okay, not expecting to get Bowmastered. Again, it's really nice that the lanterns can like sack to draw a card in these kind of games. I think I will go ahead and sack, draw a card, make another spawn. Picking my opponent down to 16. Is Linebreaker a good fit for this to make sure the deck gets better if it doesn't combo, or do you want to be more all in the combo? I mean, if you're going to play Grinding Station in your deck, you probably don't want to play Linebreaker. So it's like... Linebreaker is like not a very good card one. The card is just very mediocre. It isn't the worst card you could play. It definitely has... It isn't like completely an unplayable modern card. But the card quality in general there is kind of low. Okay, Graveyard is in a track, so we're gonna have to crack the Lantern, and I draw another land, which is quite bad. And so, like, and then also, like, Linebreaker is a card that really is only going to shine, for the most part, in very aggressive decks, and decks that are, like, truly beat down aggro decks. And so the fact that this, like, putting it in a combo deck like this is, in my opinion, just not a good decision. Maybe I should have main phase cracked because of my opponent can now Goryo's in response, which is so annoying. So I think I Veil of Summer to look for a Kozilek's command. I think I Veil of Summer to look for a Kozilek's command. Dang it. Well played. They hit a consign, which they can consign there, attracts a trigger. They also hit a Ulamog that might get me next turn. Alright, they put Ulamog, Goryo's, Marsh Flats into their hands, so it seems like they have another way to scam the Atraxa potentially, because they did not. They took Goryo's over consign, or maybe they just want the Goryo's really bad. Okay, I guess that's the case. And then maybe they just have another consign in their hand up. Be a bit awkward to have like cash in the veils there, but digging for like Kozilek's command seemed pretty worth there. Well, I guess I should have played the Vista for the card selection. It would have been an extra look at command. Does look like we're gonna get consigned. Spike, could we unban Fury to solve energy issue? I will say that it has never been, I think, the correct move to unban a card to balance a format. Because there's a specific deck you want to target with that unban. I have never seen that be like something that like realistically makes sense. And I would say that it is probably never the case that the right answer to managing a format is to unban something to keep a really dominant deck in check. Okay, happy enough with that trade. They do have the Gorios in the hand. But wait, what's the biggest thing in Exo? Just a 7-drop? I can annihilate 7 here. No Kozilek's commands. But I should have had another look. Also, the Vista gave me another precursor. Yeah, so I just really messed up by not playing the Vista. Gonna be a few growing pains here. Wait. Let's go. So, did I punt really bad by sacking the Fleshraker? They wouldn't have been dead, or trading the Fleshraker. Kozilek's Commander Breach off the top should get the job done. 8 outs. And some Rumbles also, although Rumble can't find Breach and let me cast Breach. Get my opponent down to 4 with the attack also. I felt our 2-2 was more threatening than their 2-2. I didn't feel that way. Their 2-2 could like throw another Attracts at me. My opponent Surgical's Fleshraker. This puts them down to effectively 2 life. But I guess it also means I can't kill them this turn. So do I still have a mountain in my deck? I do. I have 2 mountains. Gonna get another spawn here. What a fun game. Okay, so my opponent has Surgical my Glaring Fleshrakers. Let's see if they have like a Force of Negation. My opponent says wow. So I guess if I want to play second Precursor, I have to Star first. Worst part they saw a hand on top deck. I mean, I had a lot of good top decks, and I also like a lot of cantrips like the Stars. I don't know. It was a good turn. I definitely want to get this Lantern in play too. Oh, and draw on Lantern, it makes things interesting. Yeah, I think it lets me, just lets me play their Star here. Let's name Red since we have a green floating. Yeah, I think Linebreaker is, again, 1, just not a very good card, and 2, just kind of off plan. Okay, not a bad comeback. Game is still gaming. This has Menace. Still has Menace. Still has Menace. Okay. Oh, sorry, I keep resting my elbow on these fiber gummies and they keep slipping. I started playing after Breach Troll. I guess you'll have to subscribe so it doesn't happen again. Can't Celestial Purge these either. Never played Tatsurani Road, Toad Rider, and Commander. I don't know what any of those words are. Maybe I should have like sacked the lantern and like gone a little bit deeper. Finding a Kozilek's command in our top 27 cards could have been nice. We did cut our stirring, so maybe we only us is to blame. Okay, there's a frog. They are still dead on board. 3 cards in their hand. Flies a frog. After playing the other one. Probably not correct sequencing. It's a ninja that rides a big frog. Thought. Sounds like they ripped off Naruto. Alright, GG, says our opponent. That was a great game. That was a great game. 2-1. Lost to Demonic Tutors on Mill. Mill kind of a nightmare matchup for this deck, I guess. I'm gonna give this one a go. I'm not sure about this, but this hand can just draw Rumble, Stirrings, Linebreaker, Precursor, Kozilek's command. So like we have 20 great top decks here, and we get 2 looks at one of them. And we could also just, keep playing otherwise. Okay, on the play against Belcher. I think this is not a very good matchup game 1. Okay, there's a Linebreaker. So I guess we hold the star for next turn. So it's not a very good matchup game 1, but then in the board we have Quadruple Veil, Triple Needle, and potentially some Mites, potentially some Lanterns. With that many tokens, how about It That Heralds the End as an alternative win con? Okay, chatters. I'll say this again. Basically every suggestion for the deck today has been goofy win conditions that are only good in situations that we have a million tokens. This deck is not struggling from being able to win the game when you have a lot of cards and a lot of tokens. Fleshraker just does that naturally. It just kills them. The amount of Blade of the Bloodchief, Linebreaker, It That Heralds the End as a Little Lord for your tokens. None of these suggestions are going to be good. These are win more cards that are trying to solve a problem that this deck doesn't have. And I'll say this again in a couple of minutes when it gets asked again, but that is the answer to the question. All right, so I guess we play Precursor here. Seems like my opponent may war for another Bloom end of turn. We'll see. May just have like a sync up. So I guess I should be tapping Karplusan Forest, right? What problems does this deck have? I don't know that the deck does have problems. I think this deck has been pretty good in testing. We have an early draft. Maybe the deck is a bit weak to Surgical Extraction, but the deck has been good so far. And we lost to Mill, which is like a nightmare matchup, and then we're 2-0 besides that. So let's maybe just play some games. But I will say that if your deck suggestion is to do something when we have a lot of tokens in play, to win the game more when we have all of our resources and a lot of tokens, this is not going to be a suggestion that I am going to respond well to, probably. Okay. Bombardment seems really, really good. Okay. Again, y'all don't hear me, you just want to dance. This Bombardment is another one of these cards that is good when you have all of your resources and a ton of cards and a ton of tokens. It is a win more card that you should not play. All right, let's take a look at their build. Y'all don't hear me? Yeah, just want to dance. They have main deck Harbinger. And they're playing Selective Memory. And they're playing main deck Commandeer. And they're playing main deck Counterspell. And to fit all this, they're not playing Flare plus the creatures. Interesting. Maybe I cut the Rumbles, because the Stirrings dig me for the Needles. I mean, I guess they both dig me for the Needles. Maybe Sphere. Let's try cutting Spheres. And 1 Precursor. And 1 Rumble. Maybe 1 Breach instead. Just be a bit more in on, like, I find a Pithing Needle, I protect it with Veil of Summer. Red Castle. We don't have enough mountains for the Red Castle. So, in some matchups, I would maybe hold this Bauble to trigger off the Precursor on turn 3. I think in this game, I'm wanting to dig for a Pithing Needle or a cantrip to find a needle, and then protect that with the Veil of Summer. Big Outcast guy. Yeah, I like Outcast a lot. Do we see any card that makes them bolt themselves game one? Yeah, I don't think. This might be a sideboard snare. I mean, they're obviously going to have like consigns post board too. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play my precursor this turn, and then I can sack the Vista to get another token potentially. Although maybe they just have a shoal, another consign. So it seems like the plan may be to exile the Lotus Bloom to protect myself from Tamashi, and I can do that with Veil up. I may also just die to Belcher. Can the mana base not support Saga? I think Saga is kind of bad in your Ancient Stirring deck. If you keep the Vista mana base, which again I want to because Blood Moon is in the most popular deck. If you keep the Vista mana base, then you have nine. You have nine colorless lands in your Ancient Stirrings deck. It's also not like we are tutoring anything with Urza Saga that wins us the game, like Blade of the Blood Chief. You could possibly play Urza Saga and be like much weaker to Blood Moon. But at the moment I've decided to not. Okay. So let's go ahead and scry extra. Hard to put back a Fleshraker, but we need to be digging for, yeah, Stirrings or a Needle. Get interested in fight over this. They had Snare Game 1, I guess I missed it. They have They have Harbinger. So I won't be able to Stirrings into Needle and hold up Veil, so I think I just cycle there. So we can go Breach, Grinding Station, but we won't be able to win. There's a Needle. Now the question is, yeah, I think I wait on the Needle to just have the Veil up. It's a bit telegraphed, but it also doesn't seem like my opponent's going to be able to kill me this next turn. I think if they had a word, they would have word last turn. Nice. It's a great draw. Because now this is going to be enough. I can combo off next turn. We didn't have Veil up. There's a Harbinger of the Season plays, which means that I had no green mana. So that's why I didn't cast the Needle last turn, so I could cast the Needle with Veil up. Saga sacking to trigger Precursor is not something I really realized. So that is nice. Yeah, I want to try to combo off. I think I'm just gonna Veil this. They legend rule Tamashi? What the hell? I don't know what to make of that. That's a new one. I'm gonna sack the Star anyway, so I'll just look at their top card. Don't know if I can get really any info that that's a Lotus Bloom, you know, but it is a Lotus Bloom. Okay, so let's just go ahead and cast this Breach and see if we win. Nice. This has been a great game. Great game. So we are gonna just Grinding Station them to death. Okay. Cool. That was a sick game. I do kind of want to cut the third Grinding Station from the main. This is something I was thinking about this morning. So we'll probably do that for a second league. I don't know what I'm going to play instead, but we'll figure it out. How does the combo work? So you have some like normal deterministic breach combos, right? Where you have Underworld Breach and Grinding Station in play, and then you sack something to mill 3, and then you replay it, untap your Grinding Station, sack it to mill 3, and then it costs 3 extra cards to escape. And so either you're like pinging your opponent death to so usually what you do is you ping your opponent death to Fleshraker, and if you don't have Fleshraker, you just mill a Fleshraker with your Grinding Station, play it with Breach, and kill them. And then you're making spawns in this with either Precursor or Fleshraker usually. And so what's cool about this too is like you have a lot, like that's your deterministic kill, but a lot of it is just like making a ton of mana and value and cantripping until you eventually kill your opponent, and you don't even need to be deterministic to do it, which I think is kind of fun. Sorry, but was I changing the sideboarding plan? I don't think I was. First DRC. Ooh. Could this be a DRC deck? Metallic Rebuke. Well, I mean, if we could support it and play a fourth color, maybe, but as we're already a 3-color deck. There's no question out with the deck. If you want to put Saga in a deck, does it have to be a 4 of? It doesn't have to be a 4 of. One thing about Saga, getting some lag here. One thing about Saga is that you would generally prefer it to be a 4 of, right? Because in theory, if you put Urza Saga in your mana base, like, you're also playing some like lower card quality tutor targets. So if you're playing those lower card quality tutor targets, in general, you want to like make those cards better by playing 4 Saga. This is just kind of abstract, right? All right, hoping to draw a land. Take a Veil Summer. Do you need Station to Kill? Yeah, you don't need Station to Kill, which is why I want to cut the 3rd copy. Not only did we have lands to draw, we also had 4 Ancient Stirrings. So I think with the Bauble and the Needle, this is going to be a keep for me. My opponent's missing their 4th land. Should be able to play the Star somewhat safely. Like if my opponent bounces this Needle here, they're not going to be able to untap and kill me very often. How do you get back the 2 mana to use the cast Grinding Station? Well, sometimes you get it back with the Line Breaker, but you feel a little lost in the sauce. Like you don't need, sometimes you just cast it for 2 mana, right? So I'm gonna hold up the Veil to protect the Needle here. Might not work. Or they're gonna whir for Portable Hole and I can't Veil. Yeah. All right, as good as game 2 was, game 3 wasn't that good. See if we can 3-2. Is K Command that unbalanced in light of the double waste mana? Is K Command that unbalanced in light of double waste mana? I don't know what you're asking. Sorry. Maybe rephrase. Okay, opponent's on a mulligan to 6. K Command is insanely good. Yes, you should definitely play 4 in the deck. But beyond that, I'm not sure what you're asking. Pretty bad brick. Vista can least Precursor help. I think he means double colors. Yeah, I mean, I guess I just don't know. Like, are you asking should you play K Command in the deck or not? Yes, you should play K Command. I'm not sure if there's anything I'm missing. Maybe I should have grabbed the Bauble. I should have grabbed Bauble. Sorry. OP is asking if the 2 mandatory colorless mana balances K Command. I don't know. I mean, does it matter, right? Like this is the text on the card. Kolaghan's command is insanely good. Does it matter to have these like kind of abstract, theoretical questions about it? At the very least, it's just not where my head is at the moment because I'm very excited about this deck list and I'm really interested in just jamming some games as is and not. Not being. I don't feel like we need to be so bored today that we need to muse about is K Command a balanced card or not. Can I ask a silly question about Belcher? I mean, I guess you can ask. I might give a silly answer. I'm gonna grab wastes here. Why is everyone so aggressive towards the deck list? I don't think people are aggressive towards this deck list, but this is something I've experienced many times when I build something new and fresh and exciting, which I think this deck is. When this happens, there's just a much higher quantity of people trying to help on the breaking it. There's a lot of people who are trying to contribute to the conversation and trying to put their own touch on things, which is fine. But it's people being like this in the chat is basically always like a sign that the deck is like interesting and exciting. So I don't usually mind. All right, let's see if we find a green cantrip here. Mono red Belcher with goblins or black with zombies and Aether Vial. Okay, this is a silly question. That's a nice way of looking at it, I guess. I mean, I didn't even like really think that anything else could be happening here. Then just like this is like the normal. This is normally what happens when I build something cool and good and interesting, I think. So my plan there was to bait a counterspell. Was maybe hoping for actual factual counterspell instead. Nothing in exile for Ulamog, isn't that weird? I have tested goblins with Arena of Glory. It is pretty cool with the double strike goblin. In practice, I didn't like end up winning a lot. I had 6 in the deck for a little bit, but the problem is like with no Ugin's Lab, it is just too clunky. Yeah, I do want this Bauble. So it seems like I should probably maybe bait first counterspell here with the Underworld Breach, and then go Fleshraker, Bauble Breach. And if they have, you know, third Spell Snare or second Force Blue card as in their 2-card hand here, it is what it is. Seems like they do have a Fatal Push. So I have 5 mana here, which is enough to breach and go off still. I have a grinding station in the yard, right? Yes, I do. Not so bad through Force of Negation, Fatal Push, Counterspell, second, and double Spell Snare. Maybe I think I have enough cards to do this. Seems like I do. Just barely. Actually, Xaxes. Although I guess actually we have a little bit of a problem. Because I'm not dealing infinite damage, I'm dealing a finite amount of damage here. I guess once I hit a star, then I can draw cards and I can actually get the job done. I hope I didn't just exile a star. There we go. Yeah, so what I can do is I can just go cast star for 1 mana, get a mana back, and then I'm sacking this to the grinding station and looping this, and then I'm drawing some action to hopefully finish my opponent off. With 22 cards left in the deck, I would think I would have enough action here. Should I cast this Rumble? Seems like it would be fine to cast it. Okay, GG. Second Fleshraker just does, it's like so much more damage. It's kind of ridiculous. Couldn't you have not sacked Bauble before playing the grinding station? 3 extra cards in graveyard to start the loop. Maybe, yeah. Maybe that was better. Bob with the 45 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. By Brewing, been thinking about Nissa Who Shakes the World and Tuco Landfall at all. There was a time I was working on that. I ended up not coming up with anything very playable. I do think Springheart Nantuko is one of these MH3 cards. It's very powerful. It doesn't see a lot of play right now. Nissa is a card that it pairs pretty well with. Okay, we're up a game against the Dimir Goryo's build, and I think that was a really good sign for this deck that we played through. Double Snare, Force Negation, Counterspell, very relevant Fatal Push, and still got there. I think going off the grinding station plan in this matchup is pretty fine because we just get to like K Command, Lantern, Veil of Summer them, and then eventually cobble together a win. So I think I'm gonna try doing this. And it's nice that the Lantern can kind of sometimes pose as like a star sphere. Is there no room for caverns with 8 eggs? The thing is, you don't. Maybe you could play cavern. No, you can't play cavern because of stirrings and veil. I think you could try it, but you need green mana on turn 1 in your Ancient Stirrings deck to all of these suggestions. I do think cavern is pretty good at the moment. We also get to play 4 veil on the sideboard. A temple could be good. Okay, I guess I'll just take Bauble and try to precursor to triple spawn on turn 3. Yeah, Fleshraker copying it's pretty good. I think it's usually best to copy with Phyrexian Metamorph, because you're probably gonna have some artifact synergies. Temple's still the best card, so we can precursor with Veil up. Now I think we'll just take the Fleshraker, since the Rumble gives us that extra mana. Is it possible to add 1 woodland? We just don't have enough forest for it to enter untapped very often, and I don't know how often like the copy effect is even going to be like that good for us. Watch your mono red burn video on YouTube. You think it has some legs? Well, we 4-1 to league with it, and that's not the easiest thing to do in the world, but as I don't know if it's going to be. I wouldn't exactly like recommend just picking it up as your main modern deck, but I think if you are a burn gamer and you have some hope in your heart, then maybe you could try to give it a go. It would have been so cool to go like Fleshraker into triple Bauble into play the precursor, sack the Baubles. But there are some memes that cannot be. So it's probably best for me to hold up Kozilek's command so I don't get Goryo'd, instead of playing the second Fleshraker here. I mean, I could just play the second Fleshraker next turn too. And then I could sack some Baubles to be a bit better against like Thoughtseize on 1 Kozilek's command. So yeah, probably okay to sack 1. Nah, actually, maybe I should just always be leaving them here for the precursors. It's kind of close. I think I'm just gonna sack 1 and hold the other 2. It's uncounterable this turn too. The Fleshraker, yeah, that's true. But like again, my opponent just they just have a frog here. Maybe we could have chumped, but then we don't have Kozilek's command up. So, have I played any cookbook brews lately? It's been a little bit, but wait, did they discard this after damage? For some reason, I can't tell. Yeah, I think it's been a bit since I cast cookbook. Wow, just resolves. Let's update Kappa Asmo. I mean, I think that build is just kind of pretty good. Okay, I'll say this. This league was kind of a 3-1. Losing to Mill, I'm like barely counting. And I think the deck looked awesome. So I'm very, very hyped for this one. Deck is also just so dang pretty. I do want to cut the second grinding station. Or sorry, the third grinding station. I just think I only want to play 2 in the deck with so much selection, and like you just don't need it to be deterministic that much. Now I don't know what I want to cut it for. I'm not going to play any card. I'm not going to play a Goblin Bombardment. I'm not going to play anything that's good to help the tokens. We don't need any help with the tokens. We could...